So there's so much that's changing, but at least for another year, we're good. So let's talk about a couple of things with the Cisco Cybersecurity fundamentals. You've got some terms that you're going to hear in this world. So how many of you guys have heard of a UTM? So a UTM is what you're going to see a lot of in our industry, guys. So a UTM is Unified Threat Management. So your unified threat management are going to be solutions. Think of it like a multifunction printer. You're going to find a lot of UTMs, right? You're going to see that that's really kind of where today's corporate security is going. Have you guys worked somewhere where they have content filtering, where like if you try to go to a website, they have categorized the websites you go to? So like you're at work and they won't let you go to like a swimsuit magazine type website, right? Even though it's not pornography, they'll say, well, you know, we would appreciate it if you wouldn't look at that kind of stuff at work, right? So you're finding today a lot of people are using a web content filter. A lot of people are using a UTM, right? You're finding a lot of that. And then most people have some sort of anti-spam solution. A lot of times for this web content filter, Cisco's going to call that a WSG. Okay, so a couple of the features that people are going to want are going to be web content filtering, right? Malware, the ability to look for malware, either on the endpoint or on the wire. And what's been happening is most of us came up in the world where this is how we learn networking, where we learn the OSI model and TCP/IP. And now what's happening is if you look over on the right where that OSI model is at, today, almost everything now is at layer 6 and 7. You see where it says application layer? We very, very rarely do any of this IP layer stuff. So Cisco has been trying to move away from the network. That's why they're buying security companies and, you know, getting into cloud and data centers and programming, because quite frankly, the network is kind of becoming a commodity, right? So we've still got our core concepts, you know, connection oriented for TCP, connectionless for UDP, and how the OSI model works. That stuff's never going to go away. That stuff's never going to go away. Ports, that stuff's never going to go away. What you are starting to see now is we have to be able to defend against all of these different types of attacks, be them old or new. So for example, like an ARP spoofing attack, where somebody pretends to be a different MAC address on the network, your switch needs to be able to deal with that. Because it's layer 2, your switch needs to be able to deal with that. Your switch needs to be able to detect ARP poisoning, right? Well, a lot of people now want their endpoint to be able to protect themselves from that, you know, because you don't want to have to lay like ARP suppression or any of these other types of things on your switch, because you could run into situations where now anytime somebody moves a port on the switch, you kill the port on the switch. So sometimes your security measures can actually cause denial of service. So being able to look for all these different types of attacks, we started saying, well, if we move more to the application layer, we can use all these different session identifiers and encryption, key verification, and all these other things that, again, it doesn't stop all those lower level network attacks, but we can give ourselves some assurances that stuff is working the higher up the OSI model that we go. And you're starting to find people are moving into IAM IAM, Identity Access Management. You're starting to see that that is the new hotness, right? How many of you guys work somewhere where you have to plug in a smart card, CAT card, or PIV card so that you can use your computer? So we're doing that increasingly because they want to make sure, rather than making security IP-based, this IP is allowed to talk to this IP. The big push in security today, we're going away from IP to IP-based security rules. So think, why is security going that way? It's about being in line with the way business works. Instead of like computer to computer, IP to IP, site to site VPN, it's all about, are we in line with the way that we want to do business? And security needs to align itself with the business more. This is behavior-based security. We are starting to find that we want to use identity and behavior instead of signatures. That's where security is going, right? So this stuff right here is all old, right? Port security, MAC filtering on the port to make sure that the correct laptop is plugged into the correct port on the switch, right? And you know, this is why people are calling this stuff similar to a dumb security guard, right? I mean, it controls traffic, but it doesn't differentiate data versus commands. Users need to understand the limitations of all of these old security things, right? We need to understand payroll and R&D and human resources and the executives and the way they work, and we need to align security with the way they work. And at the same time, comply with things like FISMA, PCI, Sarbanes-Oxley, all these regulations that say how we're supposed to be implementing things. So today, you're kind of saying like, okay, I need something that can do all of these different things. It might need to act like a firewall. So that means it might need to do network address translation. So you see here where it says, hey, this could be used as a NAT device. And then you say, well, I've got remote users, so it could be used as a VPN device. Then you say, well, I need to make sure that people who aren't authorized to this network can't plug in. So it could be used as a network access control device. And then you say, well, it could be a UTM, Unified Threat Management. Now, today, we have other things like web application firewalls and application firewalls because everything's happening at these higher layers of the OSI model. So this is what it used to look like, right? You had the internet, the WAN, the firewall, the router, and this is what it used to look like, right? And we had these classes of firewalls that only worked by blocking IPs and ports. IPs and ports. Now, what happens today when someone says, no, today I need an NGFW? What is that? Is a next generation firewall. Let's think about this. What if you have, maybe you want to allow users to go to Facebook, but not be able to use Facebook apps, right? Palo Alto is a very good example of a next-gen firewall, right? It's a very good example. That's an NGFW. So maybe you have these set of users that you allow to use chat inside of Facebook, these set of users that can just use Facebook, and then these other set of users that can, instant messaging inside of Facebook, right? So you're the one who gets to control this stuff. Okay, so, well, we've been using things like IDSs and antivirus for years. Nothing new at all. But now, Gartner says IDSs are obsolete. Symantec says antivirus is obsolete. What do we do in this world? So the attacks are changing so quickly. People are starting to feel like, man, I need to have newer sets of security things in play.
Don't forget to subscribe to this channel. I really want to get people to start using the channel, start hanging out on Infosecaddicts.com and hang out on the Infosecaddicts YouTube channel. Thanks so much. See you again in our next video.